With commentary and analysis on our hometown teams, this is the Bucky and Sully Show. Presented by Dave's Christmas Wonderland. 2 locations, Union Road, Cheektowaga, and Transit Road, Williamsville. Now, from the WBBZ-TV studio, here are Buffalo News sports columnists Bucky Gleason and Jerry Sullivan.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bucky and Sully Show. I'm Bucky Gleason. I'm here with Jerry Sullivan, of course. Just to let you know, we're going to have Jeff Calkins, who's the columnist from Hamburg, now working at the Commercial Appeal in Memphis. He's covering the Grizzlies Warriors. So we're going to have him on in the second segment. We're going to have our trivia question. First, Sully, let's get to the big news, and that is Tom Brady. NFL coming down hard. 4-game suspension, $1 million fine, first-round draft pick this year, well, next year, and then a fourth-rounder. Sully, they didn't go soft on Brady, and they didn't go soft on the Patriots.
We both have said 3, so we were close. And Vegas had the over-under at 3.5, so it's over. Now, I got a question, though. If you actually bet this, and I assume if Vegas Bovada set odds, you could bet on it, does the bet pay off for what they lay down? Or if there's an appeal, do you have to wait for the appeal? Because you know he's going to appeal. My prediction is he will appeal, and it'll get knocked down to 3 or 2. And my other question is, does Jerry Jones want him to play that fourth game in Dallas to make it a big spectacle against Roma, or does Jerry Jones want to win the game?
I would want him there. I mean,
I'd want him there too.
I would want him there no matter what the case is. But Sully, I mean, this is it's a little high. It's a little higher than we expected, so I think it's a little high. Most people say it wasn't high enough. There'll be Patriots fans saying, what? They shouldn't have had any suspension whatsoever. So it is an interesting thing. I think that it comes back a little bit to the Ray Rice thing, that they made such a mess and screwed that up so bad that they had to come down hard on Brady. And, you know, the fact that he is the name in the face of the game, I think contributed to them coming down hard. And the $1 million fine in the organization, that is a stiff penalty. It was $500,000 for Spygate. You know, $1 million because you have, the equipment manager and the assistant trainer, or whatever these goofballs are, taking some air out of the ball. That's a lot of money for a little air.
The thing is, cheating is the ultimate offense in sports. We found out from the whole Pete Rose
because
thing.
that never happens anywhere else.
You can do anything in baseball, but if you bet on baseball and compromise the so-called integrity of the sport, you're on a whole different level from a steroid user. So I think they're counting on the fact that most fans will see Brady as a different level from a child or woman abuser. Unfortunately, I think they're more worried about the idea that the game has to be pristine, partly for gamblers. As I wrote today, they appeal to gamblers, and I think they don't want anyone to think that anyone's getting an advantage here, though I don't understand why any gambler would care what kind of ball Brady was using.
No. Well, it comes down to, well, Sully, if you're going to get into that on the gambling side, I tend to not think of it that way. I look at the pure competition and not so much the gambling aspect of it, but there's no ignoring the gambling aspect. And if part of the money is being spent on how many games are they going to win in a season, and not necessarily are they going to win in a given week, then that changes things. So, I mean, I'm sure that has something to do with it. Now, if you're the Bills, you jumping for joy right now?
Yeah, I think you are. I think fans are fans. They want to win the game. They don't care. They were jumping for joy when they won their finale last year, and Brady didn't play because they rested him.
They'd be happy
with played one series, but this could be interesting. It could be 2 straight wins over the Patriots with an asterisk.
Well, the asterisk?
They'll take it.
Well, and people right now would argue, okay, well, that Super Bowl and their playoff run comes with an asterisk. His career comes with an asterisk. Last season comes with an asterisk.
Those people are high. I mean, you look at his career. I mean, if you think that he's done that because he's deflated footballs or because of Spygate, you're nuts. Because the pattern is that they improve during seasons, and it's not because of the football. They're the greatest, most consistent NFL organization of all time. He's the best quarterback of all time, and none of that changes because of this.
How bad does it look, you think, right now for Bob Kraft, who came out and said, pointing his finger before the Super Bowl last year, and basically said, you know, the NFL finds something, they're going to owe us a huge apology. Now this guy's reaching back into his pocket for
No, he said if they don't find anything.
Yeah, if they don't find anything, then we deserve an apology.
So they found that they did it.
You know what? He's one of the super owners, though, and for the NFL to come down hard on him, too, he's part of this. I mean, you heard his reaction when the Wells report came out, and he wasn't happy about that. And Now I want to hear what Brady has to say. When is this guy going to come out and address these things? That's the question to me.
I don't think he's going to, because he's going to appeal. And you don't appeal and then say you're sorry. He's going to appeal because he still contends that he's innocent and that they don't have enough evidence for this kind of a suspension. And it's not a court of law. It doesn't matter. And circumstantial evidence puts a lot of people in jail. This is strong circumstantial evidence, but he will appeal. They'll appeal. I think they want to get it to 3. The Jaguars game, they're probably going to win no matter who plays quarterback. This Dallas game is very interesting.
Yeah, and you're right about it.
It's after a bye.
It's not a court of law. I think, just reading up on things, people act like, well, if it didn't happen there, it's not a democracy. And the NFL proves it over and over every year that it's not a democracy. Not at all. Sully, let's move to Mike Babcock, who's in town interviewing with the Sabres. Sabres interviewing him. I'd imagine most of you.
He was in town. It wasn't those seen at the gas station in Hamburg.
No, right. It wasn't Michael Vick at the airport. But he, I get the sense that Babcock was probably interviewing the Pagulas and Tim Murray as much as they're interviewing him. That's a no-brainer. You hire the guy. He needs to find out whether he can work with them.
Yeah, I still wouldn't bet on him coming here. One of his 3 considerations, one was family, but one was his relationship with the owner and the GM. I'm not sure he's going to be comfortable, even though he knew Murray. There's a kind of a power thing there. And I don't know what the Pagulas. I mean, Ryan wanted to be the head coach. He wants to be a head coach somewhere, but he has other options. I don't know. What I'm wondering with you is again, and I always have to ask you this, the whole Pat LaFontaine situation. How does that play in? Because that's out there in the league. People entrenched in this sport, the way Babcock is, have to have some background, and people that talk to him about what happened with LaFontaine. Is it a factor?
How that played out, it may be a factor. I don't know what's going through Mike Babcock's head right now and what his reservations would be. What I find interesting about this situation, Sully, is that if Babcock, he comes here, Tim Murray will be the GM, it's going to kind of be structured the way that the Red Wings are structured. Mike Babcock is going to have a voice. And one of the reasons that he's been such a good coach is because he had such a great GM. Kenny Holland, in my opinion, is the best in the league at that, too. So they have the best coach and the best GM. It's not a coincidence. Those things work in tandem. But that was exactly the model that Pat LaFontaine was trying to execute when he came in. He had visions of carrying out what Terry Pegula wanted, and that was to have a 3-pronged system where there would be somebody in charge of hockey, somebody coaching that would have a voice. I mean, this is how it was going to be, and another guy who was going to handle the administrative side and also have a voice on trades and contracts. So, I would expect, now right now it would just be Babcock and Tim Murray, if you want to include Ted Black in there somewhere on the business side. That's what's interesting to me. You have to have the right structure, and I think that's what Babcock's going to be checking.
Patty did not like the over-empowered GM model, which was Darcy Regier.
And he
wanted to change that, and there is and it's kind of drifted back to that with Tim Murray.
Well, look around the league. A lot of the teams are doing what Patty had suggested. So they're going to that model. And you're right. I mean, Murray does have a lot of power right now. Do they need somebody else? I mean, in my opinion, they could use somebody else that can handle news conferences and the public side of that job, because he hasn't done such a great job at that. You saw how he reacted after the draft. I mean, that's not how you want your GM to respond to good news. And so they have to figure that out. Now, if they bring in Babcock knows his way around the media. And I remember covering him in the 2008 and 2009 Stanley Cup. And there's a forceful part of his personality, and he's very comfortable with his own voice, and he knows what to say and what not to say and how to handle it all. So,
I was very impressed with him at the Olympics, I'll just say that.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy's a pro. And you know what? And I said before, he's in the prime of his career right now. 52 years old. He's been through enough. He knows how to win. He knows players, and there's still enough time for him to use everything that he's learned and apply it. And I think this is an interesting challenge for him. That's the thing that I think could bring Mike Babcock to Buffalo, and that is the challenge. I'm going to take this on, and I'm going to be the guy that brings the Stanley Cup to Buffalo. We'll see. Sully, let's go to the trivia question before we get to Jeff Calkins. Memphis ranked second in the NBA for fewest points per game allowed during the regular season, or the last 3 years prior to 2015. How many games did the Grizzlies finish in the top 5? We'll have the answer in just a moment.